Did you move the audio over yet, Scar, or not yet? Okay.
I
Okay.
guess so.
All right. Good evening, Free Enterprise fans. Welcome to the community race for the Free Enterprise community. We are running the tournament beta flags tonight. My name is Garen, joined here in the booth by Organ Mike, comms booth. Mr. Tierney is tracking for the first time tonight, so welcome. Thank you for helping out. And Scar is doing the restream and has rolled us a lovely Eddie hero seed. Apparently, is the only hero we're allowed to show here on the community races because we love pain. Apparently, how are you doing tonight, Organ Mike?
Doing well, and just glad that I don't have to deal with this seed. So, um, it's not my pain I get to enjoy. So,
Yes. So for those who haven't been following, the tournament beta flags are a Sea Hero setup where we have no Tellas and no Foos. So there's no possibility of a D machine grind. We've also capped out the loot at max tier 7, min tier 3, but it is pro setting. Most of the overworld, you're not going to see higher than tier 5. There's not going to be any, uh, holy swords or stardust rods or things like that popping out of regular chests in the overworld. In addition, the shops are also on pro setting, so we will not be seeing lots of good stuff from the shops in the overworld either, and not too much good from the shops underground as well. All runners are kind of hoping for Kokol's shop because that is the best shop in the game, and have a few higher end items in there, including apparently the possibility of sirens, as I found out in one of these seeds once upon a time. So the remote chance of a siren grind is available if the forge drops quickly, eventually.
well,
And also there's no
and
J
forging the
items.
legend. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Uh, yeah,
Uh,
forging the legend sword is in fact one of the runner objectives. So it might well be worth taking the time to find that.
yes. You'll always love the forge in this thing if you can find it, especially with Eddie, because it's not going to be a zonk like it can be with the caliber if you have a Cecil in the seed or something like that. I mean, Requiem Harp is actually the only thing that can slow Eddie down in this seed, so you kind of almost might want the Requiem Harp because it's the only way to slow down what is a very fast bard and a bard that causes lots of agility issues if there are no silk webs in this seed. One thing to point out, the chests have no J items in them, so uh, there are some limited J items like Star Veils in the shops, but most of the time, we're not going to see a whole lot of J items, which make our lives so much easier in this particular seed. So it's going to be a little bit of chaos. It's going to be a lot lower power than we're used to seeing, and our runners are probably going to have to do a grind somewhere. The most popular one typically is Mac Giants. The other options tend to be doing some chests on the Lunar Subterrane, or occasionally just doing the Lunar Altars, or taking a door grind occasionally.
But without
And
Tella or Fusoya around, that makes D machine grind a pretty tricky. Then I would imagine.
it's not really possible, actually. I mean, maybe if there's a Dragon Whip and you can get your Iridia up, it might theoretically be possible, but it's probably not worth the hassle of dealing with all of those flames coming out and just sapping the HP of the party.
Looking
We're
like we're
underway,
off
though.
with Yang as well as Edward
All right.
and a Leviathan summon. So
All right.
not
So team,
exactly a key item there.
nope. So apparently, Team Weak Sauce, physically at least, gets a summon orb they can't do anything with. So this is a great start we're off to here. The objectives tonight, we've got the Forging of the Legend Sword, which is in every seed. We've got completing Cave Magnus. We've got defeating the Baron Basement Throne, Twitting of the Rat Tail, defeating the Queen of the Town of Monsters, curing the Fever with the Sand Ruby, launching the Falcon, and conquering the Villa Murasame altar. And our runners are probably hoping that that launch the Falcon is not their way underground because that can be tricky with our Eddie.
Also, they have to complete 6 of those goals. So I'm seeing a couple of them that are pretty heavily combat focused. Specifically looking at the Murasame altar and the Baron Castle basement. So hopefully we'll get some big numbers showing up somewhere. There was a Drain Sword on Vitage's side. He's going
Yeah,
out and doing
now
the
Algren started out in Baron and found a dancing dagger for that Eddie in that very first chest right by the inn. That is probably Eddie's best weapon in the early game. Can get you through a lot of early fights. We're not going to take this rune ring. Okay, we're That's some pretty good stuff here. Some sort of guards guarding, looked like a palom there.
Vitasia has chosen instead to loot Eblin Castle, and again found a drain sword, but had to reload with monster attack.
Yeah, there are 3 monster boxes randomly placed in the tower here. It's kind of disincentivized the tower a little bit since we put in a min tier flag, because the min tier takes away the tier 1s, the tier 2s that can show up in other locations. It kind of increases the value of places like Watery Pass, Jamesian Chest, Jamesian Treasury rather, more than they would be otherwise if we didn't have that restriction on.
Well, looks like Falgren's gone to join him there, though, so seems like a reasonable place to start anyway.
Yes, you can get some good things out of here. Heroine robe, that would be really nice if we had anyone who could actually use it right now. Hopefully it is if it's a hook route seed, you have at least one of the ladies show up to actually wear it before you go underground. I have had seeds where I get a heroine robe early, and then the seed laughs at me because it is giving me all the guys going down to the hook route.
Sometimes the game just wants to make you suffer, I suppose.
Sometimes.
Well, again, I'm not exactly an active player of the game at the moment, so maybe I'm a little naive about it.
I think that
Call it hopeful.
when push comes to shove, I think the randomizer chooses violence more often than not.
I'm sure the runners do as well.
Yes. I ran a club that was actually focused on one of those sorts of ideas, and yes, pain was selected often.
And Vitasia has gone to see what's hiding in Damsium.
Well, Edward is not hiding in Damsian. He ran away before all the carnage went down, and now he's come back to the scene of the crime. That's a karate shirt.
He certainly couldn't have been responsible for it. That completely impossible.
Thunderclaw. So Thunderclaw is useful because in this we're looking for anything that would really help us out with Mac Giants to do the best grind available, at least in a lot of people's opinion on the Giant. Things we're looking for here, we're looking for an Ogre Axe, Poison Axe. We're looking for Earth Hammer,
There's an Ogre
Thunderclaw.
Axe in Damsian. Vitasia just picked it up.
Very good. So that and the Thunderclaw, we're getting a good amount of anti-giant equipment going as far as it goes. And then you also need characters to use it. So again, that's Yang, that is Sid, Kane, Cecil, Edge. Characters like that are the wielders of the stuff against the giants. In a pinch, you can also use charm arrows if you get a Rosa or a Forum with that heroine robe. Or you can also use lit arrows, I think is the other option going there. Randomizer is sentient. Okay. I don't know.
Vitasia's going to head up the back end of Mount Hobbs to see who's hiding at the top and what he's got to fight to get him. That looks like Sid, and we have an axe.
This is on brand. Megan is holding Yang hostage. Apparently, Yang wasn't going along with the program over in Baron there, so that makes sense.
We'll see how this fight goes. Well, Falgren's also doing the same thing, so these two have some pretty similar ideas.
Yep, that definitely can happen at times.
I imagine with this start, you want to fill out your party pretty quickly. Get some force of arms up.
The thing about you want to get that grind done as soon as you can, and it goes better to sling someone if there are 5 people in the party, because you can only sling if your party is full.
Now with Edward Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
So say with Edward as hero, that means that even if he's down, he's still getting experience, correct?
Unfortunately, yes. He is still getting experience, which means he's getting faster every single level, and is going to just be trying to go first no matter what.
Gotta go quick if you're going to get away and hide, right?
Yes, although one of the less happy features about all that is because I think the anchors always are a 5, if I recall. If the boss is faster, then Eddie doesn't get to go first in some cases, whereas if he wasn't the anchor, he would. If you've got a very fast, what am I thinking of here? Like, well, if it was like a wyvern or something like that, if you wanted to hide immediately, it's like you might not get the chance. Or DKC. DKC is probably what I had in mind.
Oh yeah, Dark Cecil should be pretty easy if you can just get Edward out of the way and then wait out the timer.
Yeah, I mean, it would be Eddie, letting the entire party die so you can survive type of deal. But friends have to make hard calls like that sometimes.
Speaking as a bard, sometimes you just let the rest go. So we got Vitasia and Fabul, and Falgren, by way of having gone to Baron first, just a step behind. Falgren also didn't do Damsian.
Yeah, we'll choose to do the Antlion Cave now. Sometimes I will leave this a little bit if I have a character who's going to get exit. Since I have no exit prospects in the future right now, I would probably just take this earlier just because if this is something like, Magma, oh, there's a black belt, that's nice. And there's a Mom Bomb for Vitasia. That's not nice to see here.
That's Fabul, yeah. So your exit prospects are Rosa after Tower of Zot and the twin, Porin, right?
Yeah, and if you get Rydia learns Warp fairly early. She doesn't have the MP to cast it initially, but he gets it pretty quick.
Edward is using his best hiding skills on Vitasia's side to stay out of the way of Mum Bomb's explosion.
Yeah, and it will explode because the Mama gets an extra 9,000 HP no matter where it is. At our levels, we aren't going to get through that before it blows up. The main thing we have to worry about here is the damage from the explosion, and then how bad the bombs are in terms of how quickly we can kill them. Okay, that explode is pretty weak. I think we're fine here.
Will the bombs explode of their own volition if Eddie doesn't show back up?
No, I think they will usually tell you to take 1 or 2 turns and then they will blow up.
We got Octomam at the bottom of the Antlion Cave for Falgren.
Yep. I think that would be considered French vanilla in this case, since he's usually just 1 level over.
And not particularly difficult either, looking at the way that fight went.
And there's a pass for Falgren.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to use that just yet. It's a little bit early for Z. And we'll see if Vitasia gets a payoff from doing this rule check early.
Scar in Twitch chat
like to save it.
Says that he believes they need a target for the bombs need a target to explode. So that would make sense.
Just
like
like
a
Mute Knife. Yeah.
Not a lot of value there, but it's a check done.
It is, and the experience is helpful in the early going. I mean, Eddie needs experience by the gallonful here. And definitely Yang does too, because Yang's damage is pretty lousy until he gets a bunch of levels. Kind of like a mage in certain respects. That's why he's called a punch mage. Looks like Vitasia is going to try his hand at shopping here, I would think. There's 2 item shops here. Maybe looking for silk webs or life potions, or not that. Diet food is not on the menu.
A diet food cures Piggy?
I believe so, yes. Oh, there are tents here, and there are Thor rages. Buys a few tents. And buys an ice claw.
Yeah.
That is a buy for the leg if it shows up. And the Trojan woman gets in the way of us leaving again. We apparently have to buy her apples or something to get her out of the way.
Vitasia is going to go check where Falgren began, and that will give us another look at Baron. Well,
yes, we're going to see which set of guards is here, and then we're going to see what is the boss behind the guards, see if it is spicy or not.
Oh, Starvale's for sale in Baron. And a second Thunderclaw. Just lying in a barrel somewhere. And an Earth Hammer, my goodness. I missed all of this.
Dwarf, which is the only thing that can back row Kane. Very good. And yeah, I know there's we would never buy diet food, Scar. I mean, it's just a joke of the fact that it's diet food.
So it looks like we might see this fight here.
Yep, we will. Tasia did put a mute knife on Eddie, but this is not the Baron guards. This is the Kaipo guards. They are not weak to mute, but they are just weak in general because there is no HP at this spot. So that kick from Yang takes down all 3 of the weaker minions. And the leader runs away.
Tasia also took the time to instigate the back row glitch.
Oh, well, we have Vanilla here. And we have the Spider-Man meme on top of it.
Just missing a paladin to make this fight go quickly.
Yeah, it's like oh, too bad. I mean, the worst that could happen is if that Karate decides to take out Yang. I think though, where Sid is, Sid will be available to just survive this no matter what.
Sid looks pretty hardy.
Hardy and also in the back row with I think some defensive gear at the very least, so shouldn't be too bad. And Falgren's gonna get into the fight right as Vitasia gets out of the fight. Very close between the runners here.
And we've recruited half the twins. And got the Legend Sword. Well, that's a good...
Well, we have one half of Forge that will now possibly sit in our pack and laugh at us the rest of the seed, depending where that Adamant Rock is sitting.
Not to mention some way to actually get underground to forge it.
Right, I think with what we've seen so far, the way underground has to lie through Mount Ordeals at this point. We've been through Antline, we've been through Favul, we've been through the town of Baron. We have gotten nothing that gives us any other checks. So it's either Ordeals or it is a very cheeky D-Mist hiding at either the Mist Cave, the Waterfall, or Zot 1, which is always the funniest place for it to be sitting.
I mean, we could start to craft the most ridiculous chains here at this point. D-Mist at Zot 1 covering the Earth Crystal. So things like that. Which is then required for your...
The always funniest thing is if the D-Mist is hiding in the package spot and the package character is a character you really don't want. Like, for example, it's a dupe Sid or it's a dupe something else. You're probably not going to take that. And if the answer lies behind the package, it's probably going to be last.
Yeah, it's a long time to go just to check that. So,
especially if you know that the character isn't going to pay you off.
And Vitasia's going to go after Octomam and with his newly acquired Palom, but this fight's going to go very quick.
Yeah, at least both of our racers are being polite. They are not microwaving the octopus, so we don't have to smell the terrible smell in the booth here. Thank you.
You shouldn't come to work and cook fish in the microwave. It's just not appropriate.
Some people have not learned appropriate boundaries.
Falgren's going to climb the mountain. I'm going to check on the way up, too, for treasures. You might find some interesting things, I suppose.
Well, that is certainly a chain there, Scar. Hopefully you didn't roll that. Alright, so Falgren is heading up Mount Ordeals at this point. Age is going to check the waterfall, see if he gets lucky with the D-Mist here. Nope,
no, that's more guards.
Baron guards. So Baron guards out of the pool. It's a mixed bag. They aren't necessarily the worst in the world, but they can punch pretty hard some places.
They looked like they were pretty much in the pool there. And we have Kainatsu taken over for his buddy at the top of Ordeals.
This is actually a nice place to see the turtle. It doesn't have a whole lot of HP here. That wave isn't going to hurt too badly. And it doesn't punch here very hard either. So good stuff all around.
It's interesting seeing just the little variations between the two runners, since they're largely following the same route. But just little steps to one side or the other for both of them. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out over the course of the game, and if that continues too.
Yeah, I think the divergence is going to come mainly when we get underground, because the question is going to be, what do you do first? And is the sea leading you anywhere? And play against where it's leading you.
And the queen at the Town of Monsters is one of the objectives, so seems like they'd probably point in that direction once they get down there. But
yeah, although
we're nowhere near that point yet.
Yes, although I mean, it is possible if the queen spot is a very free boss, you could take it at this point. Most bosses that could be the case. I mean, maybe if it's a water hag, maybe if it's the king and queen of Eblin, it's doable. If it's not either of those two things, it's not very likely at this point.
Dark Knight as well with Edward. Oh, and there's an evil wall on the other side. Oh, starting from behind, but giving the evil wall a few rounds to start the advance.
Yep, and it's gonna punch fairly decently here at this particular spot, and with using the dancing dagger, it's gonna cause a stone counter. So that's also another thing to worry about.
As though a steadily advancing wall wasn't enough to worry about.
It's also a wall that somehow came up under the bridge. So whoever built this bridge was definitely not following codes and regulations.
Very little safety compliance anywhere in this world, ultimately.
I don't think OSHA actually goes here, so that makes sense.
I mean, in the underworld, you have a cannon that can be set to explode with absolutely no recourse. It's a, bit of an iffy thing. Not to mention there's a giant that just is going to stomp all over the whole world.
Yeah, plus there's that whole thing about like holes in mountains big enough to drive an airship through.
One evil wall down on Falgren's side. Vitasia working on his.
A safety save. That's a good idea, just in case this is super nasty. I was going to take off some of the gear from Yang and give it to that Edward, just to improve Eddie's survivability chances here, depending what we see.
Eddie has to go in on this one alone, correct?
Yes, this has to be an Eddie solo thing. So depending on what it is, could be nasty.
Worst case scenario, what do you think?
Worst case scenario here for me would probably be something on the lines of Golbez would be pretty nasty just because of the time investment. All would be really, really nasty here. Maybe D-Lunars would be nasty too.
D-Lunars, oh yeah, would be mean.
Magma Key. All right. So it is not a hook route underground. The runners are happy.
And there's Rubik's.
Is this elements? Be elements.
Well, that could be too.
Yeah. Ooh, it's the leg. It was going to counter with fire 2s, which are not that hard here, so not a bad thing.
The unquestionably most fabulous of the fiends.
Yes, but we have to hurry because there's a glare coming out, and Eddie is not going to survive this glare if it gets here.
1,000 hit points of damage, yes?
1,000 hit points.
If you know it's coming, is hide
and Falgren wins the race.
Looks like it should take 4 rounds on Vitasia's side as well.
And now Vitasia's not going to get the counter because Dancing Dagger is not a physical attack, so he doesn't get the counter. And we'll hide.
Vitasia is going to hide to dodge the glare. All right.
Yep, that makes total sense. It will take just a minute.
Still faster than having to reload.
Yes. Did
Oh,
not
but he
time it
timed
right,
it
though.
badly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
unfortunate. Good plan, but sometimes it doesn't quite work out the way you want. But knowing what's there, he's going to go in with the mute arrows and take a second shot.
yep. Yep, I think Fulgrim had started with the Elven Bow and the Mute Arrows, which is double anti-mage, but it only counts once, I think. Well, Fulgrim is going to get underground first with that little variation there. We'll stop by Miss City, though, and see if the majors are selling anything useful today. They're selling ethers on brand, but not terribly useful for us.
I'm wondering if going underground right now is a dangerous play, just because there's not a lot
Well,
of power in this party right now.
well, I mean, the thing is, progression is underground. I mean, the only thing we could do if we wanted to is we could take the monster boxes in Evelyn Castle. There's not a whole lot else we can do to get our levels up at this point without going underground. Nope, life potions are here in Taggart.
There you go.
So always useful when the magma key leads you here because you don't forget about it then.
Aventasia is through Rubicant. That fancy cloak didn't do him any good in the end.
Well, I mean, the thing is with a cloak is unless it's making you invisible, it doesn't really do a whole lot for you.
Does make him look stunning, though.
If looks for stats, we actually have Eddie do pretty well in that case.
I'm just imagining catwalk battles between Rubicant and Edward. It'd be a interesting way to resolve your problems. Vitasia's going to use a Siren to take a couple Liliths on.
Yep, as you mentioned, probably looking at that underground, it's like, ew. I mean, we do have the ability to crack some eggs, but again, the problem is you actually have to be able to get the egg down, and we don't have anything readily available way to make sure we get the 1800 points of damage down at this point. Ogren will go underground, which is a sensible play, I think, because you get a free item check here. It's possible that you back to someplace in the overworld. It's a little bit less powerful at this point in time.
Also gives him a look at that queen, who's sitting in that queen spot, to see what eventually is going to have to come up for that objective.
Yes, and if it's really nasty, we can always skip it and consider, well, we're skipping this, we're doing something else.
Got 8 targets and only have to hit 6 of them.
Yes, although some may be hard required depending on what the chains are that are behind them. We don't know at this point. That queen spot might be hard required if it's, for example, is behind a rat tail, it leads into an adamant rock, for example. We'll just hope that that queen spot is not super nasty, and then we'll be able to get through. Oh, poison axe or cat claws. Good stuff. All right, Vitasia is going to take the monster boxes for that power. Finds the mad ogres.
He'd spotted them
And
earlier. From
Feymarch royalty is the King and Queen of
Queen.
Evelyn.
The Queen
So
spot
this is free.
Yeah. Especially because he can duck Edward out in the hiding spot.
Yeah, unfortunately for Vitasia, this means that a lot of what he's doing now, Fall can get the same effect by just taking out that King and Queen. Because they'll give about, I think, what, 18,000, 20,000 experience, and might get enough levels to get that Palom up to Virus, which might be nothing to take an egg out. So hopefully Vitasia gets a good payoff here with some gear out of these boxes. This is going to take a few minutes, and just because of who's down here, the payoff isn't going to be quite as good as it might otherwise be.
And there's Virus on Vitasia's side, so And it's
And a
Bahamut.
Bahamut orb. So if Rydia shows up, that's a nice prize there, because Rydia can do a lot of things with the Blarg. But meanwhile, Fulgrim is going to get an objective out of the way before we even get half hour into the seed.
And that's Dr. Luge in the King's spot, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe that is Dr. Luge. The Doctor is probably not going to be someone we're going to take at this point in time, just because it doesn't do a whole lot of physical attacks. It is a little bit on the fast side, and the laser can kind of really do nasty things at this point in time. I don't think we're going to take that right now, but the King and the Queen, this is as free as it can get. The only character you have to worry about even here is Palom. We don't even really need to do any attacks. We can just simply wait.
Yeah, I mean, from my inexperience, I'm a little surprised at seeing Fulgrim fighting. I would have thought you'd just wait this one out and heal as needed, but again, I'm speaking as someone who has not run a lot for a long time, so perhaps Fulgrim has a better... I would expect Fulgrim to have a better view on things than I do.
I mean, I don't know if these guys can get stuck if you don't take any actions, but I don't think that's really the case. I mean, I would probably be just, again, letting these guys just naturally just get tired and become conscious and then go away when they wake up. Maybe he thinks the no free flag is on? I'm not sure. All right, we're done here, though.
Yeah, we're finished.
At least
They
once they
became
despawn
Conspians.
now.
It'll take them a moment to figure out that, hey, we don't actually want to do this fighting thing. And Vitasia has made his way underground.
And we'll stop over at the Dwarf healing pot. 20,000 experience there, so that is enough to get Palom 6 levels. That is Virus. And the Queen spot gives us a glass helmet. It's nice defensive gear. Now, if Fulgrim wants, he can go outside and take an egg and use that virus with a few bluff casts and get a 34,000 more experience and get Palom to quake very quickly, and then he can start doing things underground here a bit more easily.
I missed what was in the free chest. What was there? Or did you spot?
The free chest, I think, was a wasn't it a glass helm or something like that?
Glass helmet.
Help us out, please.
Yeah.
Oh, there could be more than one.
That's true. I always sort of automatically lock on Mad Ogres when I see them because they gave me so much trouble as a kid when I was playing this game.
Ooh, we have a comedy man here at Dwarf 1. That is not the nicest to see here.
It's just a little bit early. He's missed his cue. His timing is off.
Apparently, Gobus had French coffee this morning or something. It's a little bit nastier to see him here in the first spot. He has more HP. And we're going to try and get Edward hidden before he does his routine. We do, so we're going to lose one of these three characters. We're hoping it is, I would say, probably the Yang, just because, again, Palom can be more useful here. All right, thank you, Shim, for highlighting the message there. Ha ha ha.
But now we see the real terror.
Yes, it's dinner time for Shadow. Not a nice eater, or not a clean eater, I should say.
And there goes Yang.
Takes out Yang. That is probably my ideal situation there.
Fulgrim popped into the dwarf town to see what they were selling. Sylph was on sale.
Is that illegal?
I'm not sure what the rules are in trafficking fairies, so... There's a tradition of it, though, going back to the first game, because there's the fairy in the bottle, right?
That's true. Oxyel, I think that was, or something like that, right?
That's what she gives you, yes.
Yeah.
Starveil's
I played the vanilla game.
Side, yeah.
Yeah.
Starveil's gone up on Vitasia's side, and a lot of damage is being thrown out by Golbez to Golbez.
Golbez, stop hitting yourself. I mean, I know that been a pretty lousy time, and you had a really rough time in Survivor Hero Island, but come on. Fargan's going to go to the same place, is going to see the same Golbez sitting here, and decides no.
Well,
Peace
if
for now.
Golbez is in front, we'll be curious to see who's behind. And there goes Golbez on Vitaja's side.
Yeah. This may just
We'll
be
get
set
to-
up for on Falgren's end. Okay. Turns the party into pigs. Advantage here being that the pigs will not get stunned by the hold gas. Don't ask me why pigs are immune to hold gas. It is a coding quirk of this game where Piggy is higher in the priority queue for status effects than otherwise.
And Cecil joins up to fill that 5th spot for Vitaja, and we have Ogopogo. My Canadian brethren.
That was a legend.
What, Canada? No, we're really here.
No, I mean the noodles in Canada.
Ogopogo, apparently resident of Lake Okanagan in British Columbia.
Yeah, and
Our
Cecil
answer-
has no damage here whatsoever. This is getting very, very rough.
Our answer to the Loch Ness Monster is taken names, apparently.
Oh dear. And that's a wipe on Vitaja's side. Ugh.
That's too
Hate
bad.
to see that. I mean, especially right after the Golbez, you've already have party members down. If you try to get them up, you probably don't have them healed because we don't have a white mage with us. That is a rough combination there.
It's going to take a bit of a rethinking of the plan. Be interesting to see how Falgren handles it if we get a similar situation coming out.
Indeed.
But the pigs are throwing star veils on Falgren's side. And it was his Edward that got demolished, and I think Sid as well got Sid back up with a life potion.
Indeed. Now, the good news is at least Alum is at full health here, which might help on that Ogo. The problem with it is you're going to have to get that virus/quake buffed enough so that it takes him out in one shot, because otherwise any magic on Ogo will be covered with a blaze.
Vitaja's going to go and find our lovely free queen.
It's also a 2-for-1 package deal with the royalty. Both royalties, actually, since they both have a companion.
We'll get to confirm what this free chest is down here. A life stack. Okay.
Life rod. Okay. I knew it was a blank. I just don't remember which blank it was.
Can almost feel the tension mounting on Falgren's side as he wonders what's behind that lunar star. A big wave is damage based on the target's max hit points, yes?
Yes, it's based on the hit points. So each big wave will take out 25% of what the character has. And I think that we're going to run into the same problem that we have on Vitaja's side. This is going to be a wipe.
And especially with them starting as pigs, they didn't really have the opportunity. Paladin didn't have the opportunity to throw out his big spells.
Yeah, so Falgren is going to go elsewhere at this point. Not quite sure what he's going to here, but oh, did he sub Sheila 1? Maybe that's it? That's right, he did sub Sheila 1.
I didn't see him go to the Silk Cave.
I think I remember him. Yeah, he was in the Sylph Cave. It was while Vitaja was setting up that Golbez fight. We didn't actually see anything down there because you can't. There's no pan yet, but let's see what Falgren gets.
My inexperience showing. The defense
It's a defense sword.
It's a
which is
good piece of
nice.
equipment, but
No one can use it in the party. So, yeah.
though Cecil does join up after you beat Golbez, so you flip it into his hand in combat.
Indeed. So, this will be free for Vitasia. It will just take a minute. See where Falgren decides to go next. Might try giving the Power of Babel a try, or might decide to take some monster boxes and get some more levels.
Once you've, well, I was, never mind. That train of thought was not a good one. We'll move on. It's when you start getting 3 words into a sentence and realize that what you were about to say was absolutely wrong. Decided to go after the
Wait,
black cat in the two Lamaya, or 2 black cats in the Lamaya.
At least it only took you 3 words into the sentence. I mean, there are some people who get all the way to the last word of the sentence where they realize, uh-oh.
And Vitasia has acquired Quake, so it won't take long for Falgren to do the same, presumably.
I think Falgren is gotta be close. I might have had it before wiping on that Ogo.
Just doing the math in my head, Vitasia did the Mad Ogres fight in Eblon, and just now has. I think that's the only fight that Vitasia had over Falgren. So I could be wrong, but I think Falgren gets a similar amount of experience from the Mad Ogres or from this, and Quake will be online.
Yeah, definitely. So, definitely it's a bit of a rude setup here for this underground. Yang is confused again. This is not Baron Yang. Come on.
He just had to slap himself in the face a bit. He's fine.
Well, all right. A little bit of sideways here.
No, that Quake's not going to come online if Palom is unconscious at the end of the fight. Vitasia has decided also to leave the underground. And there's another defense sword. I guess he's looking for equipment. If you can't get levels, you got to do something.
Yeah, the quest for levels is definitely a thing. So Falgren is going to try taking the Mad Ogres.
And Vitasia, looking for items in shops, has gone to the mining town that I cannot remember the name of, and found only kamikazes.
It is Silvira.
Okay.
Yep.
And we'll try Kaipo. Well, makes sense to look at Kaipo. Curing the fever with the Sand Ruby is on the objective list, so might as well find out who you're going to get when you do that.
Actually, because it is an objective, that tends to be reason to fade this place. You'd like to visit only once if you can. There are Cure 2s, which are the white mage in a bottle that you kind of wish you had when you were on Ogopogo.
Well, now you got him.
Yep, that might send Vitasia right back into that Golbez fight.
Sometimes it's just that one missing ingredient, eh?
Well, this flag set can be known to punish you if you decide to skip out too much on shopping for your consumables. You can definitely run out of life pots. If you need to have cure pots and there are none with you, that's a bad thing because your starting kit gives you no cure pots. So if there are no white mages, and we're 40 minutes into a seed and a white mage is yet to be even hinted at on the stream, yeah, it's a rough time.
And with no free characters to pick up, everything is gated behind some item or some boss somewhere.
Well, we do have, yeah, I mean, the restricted character slots are everyone but the 2 on Baron Inn and Mount Hobbs. Those are considered a little bit easier to get to than the other characters. And Falgren will heal with the pot. And we'll probably give this Golbez a try again, I'm going to assume.
So is Vitasia taking on Golbez. And once more managing to get Edward into the backfield. Just in time.
And we have turned the 3 non-casters into pigs. We'll see if this works out for Falgren.
And Luca
Also,
has
apparently,
decided
Palom
to
has
play
a
defense.
Palom has a really good thing for bacon going on here.
And Vitasia loses Sid off the Demolish.
That is not nice.
Guess he's full. After a meal of Sid, I could imagine. Seems pretty tough.
Imagine how many bombs he ate in the process.
Oh, goodness.
Sid just seems to have bombs all over the place.
Oh, and hiding didn't save Edward. Immediately got hit with a virus.
Given that the Bard is kind of weak constitutionally, that doesn't seem surprising. But it does mean that we're going to be a little bit rough going into our Go fight. So Taja's going to try and get the party up. We're hoping that some Curious can get off here. Well, didn't like Sid.
And on Falgren's side, both Yang and Edward got devoured, demolished, as it were.
Yes, that's kind of lousy on Golbez going for the high HP people because it's going to take more to get those back up.
Golbez is down on Vitasia's side.
Yep, which means we're probably going to just have Yang and Alum up once the initial big wave goes off.
So that's going to do 50% of hit point or of max hit points, and Edward does not have enough to survive that.
Yes, even though you get the round down effect, it only gives you at most 1 or 2 HP of benefit to that.
And Rydia, wherever she is, has grown up.
Well, I think Rydia has been wise to avoid this party so far. She'd probably be taking a lot of deaths if she was here.
I want nothing to do with this. I am staying away from these people.
I mean, really, can you blame her?
Not one bit.
I would rather not be here either, but he's the hero. He has no choice.
He's just going to avoid it by staying face down on the ground. And Falgren is through phase 1. Golbez is down.
The ostrich strategy from Addy. That's classic.
Ogopogo is not hitting very hard, at least.
Oh,
and that's it for Vitasia.
All right, that's clutch.
And we'll see how Falgren does here.
Well, he's only going to have Sid and Cecil and a Palom, sort of. Cecil goes down
Cecil
right away.
Takes a big hit.
He's going to try to Quake it. It's a lucky hit on Sid instead. Quake is going off. Just enough.
And it's enough. All right. So both of the runners passed the throne room.
And did they get a payoff? They got a pan. That's payoff.
Yeah, that's pretty significant. That'll probably send Vitasia to the Sylph Cave.
Yes, it'll give the runners 2 checks we haven't seen before, the Pan Bonk and then the Pan Return. As far as the runners go, send your comments to Scar. We had nothing to do with this.
I don't even know how to roll a seed.
All right. That's a little bit better for Vitasia because Vitasia hasn't checked this yet, so we'll not have to double, rather in this case, triple dip the Fabul. Falcon's already been there twice. We'll have to go there a third time, but that kind of is the way it rolls sometimes.
And Yang's waking up, and the Sylphs will give us something. Another
Bahamut orb, which we already got one. We can't really use more than one.
Unless Rydia is going to take a level in Juggler.
Ugly Bahamut orb seems a little bit risque.
It's no fun without a little bit of danger.
Does that mean organ playing with a bunch of knives at some point?
Perhaps. We'll have to see. You know, anything to get a few more subscribers, right?
Yeah, or whatever you want to go with there, sure. And Vitasia will first see what we already saw with the first Sheila Turnin, which is the defense sword. And that pan will give us a rat tail, which we can do nothing with.
Not till we have a hook. But Vitasia has also already opened up the hovercraft, which Falgren has not, which is a matter of a few seconds, but it's still something.
So that means our progression lies either through the Tower of Babel, through a the King spot at Feymarch, or it lies at a very cheeky D-Mist hiding somewhere we haven't seen yet.
Well, we haven't actually checked a whole bunch of the early bosses, or, well, at least one of the early. We haven't checked the Mist Cave.
We've not checked the Mist Cave, we've not checked Dot 1 yet. Those are the two potential choices on the board right now where that potential D-Mist could be sitting.
And it looks like Vitasia is going to check the tower one, or the top of the tower.
Yes, this will have to be a keyless play. The hope is that it's keyless into tower. That would be the ideal. So you have to double climb the tower. But we will see what this seed has for us, because jokes are aplenty. Cecil is getting ice armor here, which is a little bit dangerous if the wrong kind of magic is up here.
Is it better than nothing?
It depends on if you've got a caster who is doing what that is weak to. Actually, I always forget, is it weak to the save element of its name or the opposite?
We'll see.
I don't usually use the elemental armor, so I don't really know for sure.
I would bet that Falgren's going to do something similar down here, yeah?
I would think so, yep. Vitasia's taking the chests. A little bit of extra experience, and maybe, especially in that Cecil.
Yeah, it was just 11 levels straight up for Cecil.
Yeah, Cecil at level 1 is kind of underwhelming, even with the Crystal Sword, to some extent.
He's still level 1, right?
Yeah, he's still level 1, so the multipliers just aren't there. Augur is not taking boxes on the way up, so we'll get here just a second after Vitasia does. Vitasia doesn't look like he safety saved here. And it is a purple robe. This is a flavor of Mylon. Whether it is Mylon and Friends or Mylon Z, we don't know yet. And we would probably be hoping for Mylon Z. I think that's a little bit easier to deal with this particular juncture.
And there is
Mylon Z. So, can't use Quake on this, but can use Fire 2, can use Virus. Mylon Z is floating, so I know we just got that Quake on the Paladin, but it is useless here.
And seeing Azura there, that means that she is going to be defending the hook route? Big question mark? No, I'm misreading that, aren't
yes, I? The bot that went into the teleporter is the hook 2 spot.
Okay, so she is going to be in the hook route.
Yes, that would be hook 2.
Okay. Well, with launching the Falcon as one of the objectives, that is useful information potentially.
It might be the decision of whether you fade it or not, or whether you wait to do it until after your grind is over with, depending on what's there. If we had seen something free in that spot, we might have decided to go there earlier if we get a hook. It seems like this is the kind of sea where the hook is probably hiding on the moon somewhere just because it's going to be rude.
Or it could be behind the Baron Castle basement throne.
It could. It could. We are running out of key item checks here in the underground.
Let's see. Baron Key, Earth Crystal, Twin Harp would all open up at least a little bit more. Darkness Crystal.
Darkness Crystal opens up a lot, and we have to have it somewhere in the either the Babel checks or that King spot.
It'd be fun if this was the Luca key, which then led into the Tower key, wouldn't it?
You are wishing pain on these runners. Hi.
I don't think I have to wish it. I think pain is already here.
You've heard of commentator's curse, I assume, right?
Presumably I can't affect the roll at this point, but you never know.
You're also assuming time is linear. Anyways, Vulcan gets to that fight a little bit faster than Vitasia, even though getting into it a little bit afterwards.
But they're both through, and there's our exit. Cecil now has it. And it's the Baron key. Well, maybe it is behind the basement throne.
Well, that opens up potentially, well, it opens up definitely 2 checks for us. It might open up a third, depending on what is behind either that throne or that basement key. You might get a bonus around Demist possibly out of that, because there are 2 spots we don't know yet. But for right now, it is a race for the throne of Baron.
And of course, there's no way to exit out of this tower because there would be a cutscene at the gate. So they can't exit and have to walk their newfound key out step by agonizing step.
I do believe warp would actually work in this case. It just probably is not very time efficient to do it. Also, if push me to jump was on, you could just simply jump out the edge of the tower and it would magically take you down a floor because, yeah, the game does funny things and you do things that you don't expect it to do.
I did not know that.
Push me to jump is a fairly rare flag on races for tournaments, so I don't think we've ever seen it. I don't think we ever will, but it's occasionally used in some cases and can cause very funny things.
So as expected, both runners are making their way to Baron.
Yep. Falgren is going to use a cabin outside. Vitasia would rather sleep in the Baron Marriott. So 2 different choices there.
You put out a little bit of money, you get a little bit of comfort, you know?
This is a war against Zemus. We're not here for comfort. Now, Vitasia will take a stop to see if there's anything good in this Baron shop. It is a restricted shop, so it can be a little bit better. There are black belts for sale. That's a nice thing to see. There is also anti-leg gear, which isn't all that useful because we've already seen the leg. We'll get that ice armor off of Cecil, which is a good idea, just in case you run into a Leviathan later. I think that would be a bad thing.
We'll get to see, well, we should know, if I remembered, I could tell you who was actually guarding the first Baron or the first Baron corridor here.
I'll be an Irish prophet. It's the Dark Elf.
Yeah.
Prophecy after the fact. That's the key.
Key change. So here we go.
Well, not yet. Soon.
I always liked this sort of the tripartite elemental attack here. I think it's kind of neat. And I think more enemies should do things like that. They don't, but I think they should.
Oh, we might be able to get the tripartite Zemus with 3 big bangs in a row, just to make your day kind of lousy.
The amount of time that would take up.
The amount of damage it would do.
Dark Elf goes down for Valgren, and Dark Elf comes up for Vitasia. Key change there as well. And on the throne, who is occupying the king's seat? It is, in fact, drumroll please,
It is a
the
quarter leg.
elements. So Kenatsu still there, in part.
We may never see him, depending on what rolls here from the... Now, because of the way the HP works in this thing, getting Alum to one-shot it would be ideal here. Falgren is not going that route, so we will see the leg come out here. Now we are on the turtle.
And we'll finally get to see the second most fabulous of the elements. Oh, no, we won't.
Nope.
Sorry,
nope.
Valelis. And Vitasia just off a step.
And we get a character barging into the throne room to have a word with the Element King. And that is Sid, which is womp womp because we've already got Sid.
And we're not allowing duplicate characters in this seed. Vitasia also skips the Valvelis phase of the Elements fight. And Falgren
Apparently,
bails out
neither
the
of our runners wanted to deal with a Valvalis here. 4 elements, 1 throne, 0 consensus.
So is that the tagline for the Free Enterprise movie? 4 elements, 1 throne.
And Darkness Crystal. So that means our grind is now technically available, although kind of sketchy because there's no white mage. If we had all the defensive gear for Cecil, we could do cover strats and make it a little bit easier. But we're going to instead check out what's at that basement because it is an objective. It'll give us a decent amount of experience at this point if we can find it.
Could be the Water Hag, could be pretty straightforward.
Water Hag would be nice to see here. What else is free at this point in time?
Dark Imps?
That would not really be
They'd-
free because there's no
they'd hit a
instant
little
kill
hard.
for them.
Yeah,
They would hit hard, and there's 3 of them, so that would not be ideal to see here. It's a
The-
Bahamut.
Bahamut.
This is
hello.
technically takeable if you have enough Star Veils.
That'd be interesting. I think both runners
think
are currently
Falgren does
out
not.
of Star Veils,
Yeah.
but I believe that they are for sale, fairly close at hand.
I think they might actually be here in the Baron's shop, depending on what Falgren... Yep, they were here in
Yep.
the Baron's shop.
And of course, you only need 4 because Edward can go hide in the back.
Well, actually, I mean, yeah. I mean, if you don't care about who's actually staying alive, you only really need, I think, 2. Because you can't actually damage the Bahamut more than 99999. Yeah, 9999. You can't do more than quads. So,
Vitasia has decided just to see if he can out-damage this beast. Oh, no, he's got a Star Veil. Never mind. Forgive me, I was wrong.
I think that if you had a Silk Web, it might be possible here to do that. But we're still a fairly weak party, and
Serpent opens its mouth, and Cecil survives, and of course Edward's hiding in the back.
there's a theme here in this seed.
And the countdown begins anew. This spawn is pretty quick, it looks like.
That sounds ominous.
I mean, the countdown alone is ominous, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. And that should be enough to get this Bahamut down. Yep, there it goes. It's, I think, 20,000 hit points at this point, so 2 reflects of 1 character should be enough.
And
It
Falgrim gets
is,
and a Leviathan. We already got that. We started with it.
yeah, so not a good reward, but at least you have the experience on Cecil, and you have the objective down.
Objective complete. And we just had a raid into the Twitch channel. So, welcome raiders. Nice to see you.
Yeah, so it's like drinks, glue, and company.
We're an hour into this very, very slim seed here. It's not giving our runners a lot to work with.
We have seen 6 key items in an hour so far. To put that in comparison, I ran a seed at some point in the last few weeks where it's like, I ate 8 key items once in the first 20 minutes. So this is definitely a slow developing seed. But Vitasia is launching our whale. Is probably going to check the moon for a white mage, or at least a 5th character. We do need a 5th wheel to round out this party and make the grind kind of worth it.
And unfortunately, we can't replace Edward. But
We'd at least like a spoon for him and make him somewhat useful. As it is, Edward is just sitting there taking up pixels.
I see you're familiar with bards.
Yes, they are. Who broke the spoon machine? Come on.
So, imagine the free check for the character in the Crystal Palace is a good place to start. Falgrim, I think, is checking to see what's in these item shops here.
Yep. If he's setting up for the grind, definitely would be worth it. Broke on its own. Hmm.
And sitting on the Lunar throne, we can see. Drum roll, please.
It's Edge. Well, it's a 5th character at the very least. It continues the absolute hate for white mages this seed has for our runners.
Not to mention, no one yet to use that heroine robe.
Yes, the heroine robe has lots of jokes. Looks like Fantasia yeeted the Cid to put that Edge in the party.
That is correct.
Which still gives us the problem of, do we want to grind now without having a healer to sling up to usable levels?
Falgrim seems to be headed back to the land of summoned monsters, possibly to take on that king to see if there's something useful behind it.
Well, yeah. Meanwhile, Vitasia is going to try out this cave value to see if we have extreme value here on the moon, or if we have just another version of a deceptive sale. Algren choosing to camp out in the town of monsters rather than staying at the March Marriott. It's a little bit expensive.
That looks like a Magus Sisters in Bahamut's spot.
It is a Magus Sisters. That is not nice to see here. We really don't have the power for it. And number one, the Vat Sister is going to smack very hard. And the one who casts the magic is also not going to be the pleasant either.
So Vitasia is just going to leave them be for the moment.
Yep, we are still looking for alternate solutions. And actually, with this Luge over here, oddly enough, one of the nicer answers is Cid, because that hammer will definitely is a weakness of Luge in Phase 2. It's also a weakness of Ballneb on Phase 1.
The hammer does bonus damage to machines.
Yes, it does. And on the second phase, even though Luge is not necessarily, I don't know what he is exactly on that, but he's weak to the hammer for sure. We see Balnab going down. Hopefully, Luge follows very short in succession. Otherwise, we get to see Balnab second form. We are seeing the second form.
So operate him directly. And Vitasia is counting random encounters here.
So we'll do the grind. We'll not have a white mage in the grind. So I imagine what Vitasia going to do is we're just going to just level up and try to take on some of these fights. And if we see a white mage, we're just going to simply pop that white mage in and just take the slinging as we get it at that point. Eddie is punching the robot. You're not as effective as Yang there, Eddie, that's for sure.
He's been taking punch lessons.
From who?
I would presume Yang.
They're not going
like
well.
Maybe, looks like maybe he's been taking them from Porum by accident.
Hey, no, don't insult Porum like that.
Down goes Balnabzi.
If she's wearing a hero robe, she can kick you.
And Vitasia has activated the giant. And I know. Do you do the CPU fight to see what character's hiding behind it?
Well, there's a first question to that, which is, do you take the elements fight first? Because whatever that is, it's got a lot of HP behind it, and unless it is exactly that DKC or that water hag, it's gonna be a long fight. Deja, it looks like, has found the fight that he wanted. We have Mac Giants online here. Now, we don't have any way to protect against those hits other than to cover Cecil, so it'll be a little dicey till we get everybody down low, and then Cecil can cover everybody else. But it should be relatively straightforward otherwise. Use Thor Rages to get some more Mac outs here. We don't have to really save him because we've seen the turtle already. No need for him otherwise. Yang is now covered by Cecil. Excellent.
And Yang's doing an incredible amount of damage, too.
And Luge is nice and heals up Falgren's party before disappearing there. Now, the question is, was this worth it?
A samurai bow.
No. The Feymarch strikes out again.
Call it good experience, though.
So, now we are faced with this. It is either progression lies through the moon, or there is a demist hiding out at one of the overworld spots we've not seen yet.
Still haven't checked the Mist Cave. If demist is there, that's a pretty simple spot at this point to take out.
Yeah, it's not good XP either, as Scar points out, because that was, again, a split XP boss. So that is just time that Falgren is going to wish he had back by later in the seed. It always feels bad when you do the Feymarch and it comes up a Zonk. And this is a summon spot. The odds are that it's usually going to.
Falgren goes to raise the whale, and Vitasia is still killing Mac Giants.
But while we have a moment here, as we're raising whales and whaling on giants, again, I want to give a shout out to Falgren and Vitasia for volunteering for Restream tonight. Do follow our runners on Twitch. I'm sure they'll be linked in the chat very shortly for you. Again, thanks to Mr. Tierney for doing the tracking for us tonight, Scar for rolling this very wonderfully spicy seed for us, and again, Organ Mike, thanks for joining me in the booth tonight. It's been fun so far, and we'll see what other pain the seed has to give out for us, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, Goran. And without question, Scar has given us a lot to talk about.
I knew it was a bad idea asking him for a quick one given the heat tonight, so my own fault there for doing that.
And there's a
And
lot of experience coming out there.
yep, uh, is done. There's the Tier 3 elementals. There is Psych. Only up through Psych though. So Vitasia still has quite a way to go to get a nuke up on the kid. He's 8 levels away.
I think we can all agree that the three most important spells, Pin, Smoke, and Image, though, have been obtained.
I'll give you Image. The other two, I don't know if I've ever really used them in a race context.
I don't know that I've ever used Pin. I've certainly used Smoke as a when I was playing the game myself, but yeah, I can't imagine they're of huge use when you don't have to deal with random encounters. Why do you need a spell that lets you run away from random encounters?
Well, yeah, I mean, in most cases, Eleanor will do just fine unless we turn off the running, but in that case, I think it doesn't work anyway, so.
Falgren's going to check out Bahamut Cave and see the Magus Sisters and possibly run away from. Oh, it looks like he's moving in, slowing down the battle speed.
Oh, now the battle speed's a good idea.
Wouldn't it be interesting if this was, say, where the Twin Harp was, which would give us complete Cave Magnus? And also, and maybe behind that would be, say, the flute, or the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Which could then give us the rat tail and the falcon. Which would make these three absolutely necessary.
Yep, now, Organ's taking an interesting strategy here. Since the magic is kind of weak here, try to get out the middle sister first, because the middle sister is the physical one. That is the one that's going to be dangerous for the party. Doesn't have any real anti-mage gear as far as I can see here, because the numbers aren't really showing that, so...
Cindy's also the one that will revive them if they die, correct?
Yes. So there is a reason to take Cindy down first. It makes the fight basically... Now you have to kill the other two sisters again, basically. It'll make the fight go faster. That's what I'm trying to look for there.
Vitasia, meanwhile, is heading into the lunar subterrane, so we'll see what's there.
But we know there's got to be something here, because, again, we have seen only 6 key items on the blue planet before we are literally blocked by the moon. So, again, good job, Scar. This is a very moon-heavy seed, apparently.
Well, we know the Murasame altar is required, so we're going to check that out.
Yep, the old mantra of do your objectives applies. And we have a gauntlet here. After Vitasia's already grinded. That's got to be hilarious. Oh, dear. So, if you liked grinds, we're about to do a second one on Vitasia's side. Not ideal in the sense that Edward's going to keep getting more levels, getting faster. Kind of nice because we should get our Palom up to nuke if he survives all these.
And Falgren has taken out Cindy, and for a second there, I thought he'd life glitched her to get some experience, but no, he's bringing Yang back.
Yeah, no, actually you can't life glitch these anyways because these are bosses, so something about I think boss but doesn't work on actual true bosses like that. But, you know.
We're down to one Magus Sister, and we'll see what's in Cave Value, if value is here.
Well, does it live up to its name? We will see shortly. Nope.
A full moon boomerang.
So Falgren is getting burned by the summon spots here. He's already taken spot and the cave value and has gotten paid off nothing for them, which is unfortunate.
Even the Sylphs didn't give us anything.
That's true. Did Baron Basement give us anything?
No.
All right.
It was
It is
just a required. It gave us another Leviathan.
that's right. Okay, so
The summon monsters are jerks today.
and nothing from Queen either. That's right. It's just a total zonk fest. Okay. Well, we know our path lies on lunar subterrane, so
Somewhere.
I imagine that Falgren is going to do the Mirror Altar first. But to get the very bad news that it is an alt gauntlet. Now,
But it is
because he is
required.
not,
So.
it is required. Now, because he is not grinded yet, he's going to be weaker going into this than Vitasia is, but may get more of a level premium out of doing it. In other words, might save that whole time that Vitasia spent doing the giant grind.
That is assuming that he's not too weak to take it out.
That is true. We will find out very shortly.
I imagine
Now,
so.
Algren is not saving before taking that altar, so either he is going to do a YOLO play on the Mura altar, or we're going down a different route and leaving that for later. Nope, we're YOLOing it.
Nope, we're heading in.
The only downside here is if Falgren does take a wipe, he will have to do that cutscene at the dais again.
Warlocks 2 and a red giant. We're into fight number 4.
This is where
Mute bells
would come in very handy if you had picked them up in one of the shops, because no white mage, and those warlocks are going to do a number.
What do they have in their repertoire? I remember that. Yeah, Psych. They throw stone or no?
No,
that's
they've got Psych. They've got Fire too. I think what else they have.
I mean, Fire 2 is damaging enough. Drain. There's Drain.
Drain is not a worry, though. There's no real oomph behind that one. Except if you're only 44 HP, of course. The giant is down.
Lightning 2 thrown around, too.
Mm-hmm. And now, the big problem here for, well, actually, for both of the characters, the racers, is don't really have any thing like Cure 3 to really get the HP back up pretty high. It's got to be a problem. We end up with those gold dragons, I think, somewhere later in this fight. If I remember correctly, they're in here later on. Might also be useful to throw a stop on Palom's side and take some time to cure up.
Well, fight number 4 down for Vitasia, and Falgren is into fight number 2.
Yeah, now this last one, I think, is where the gold dragons are, which would be the dangerous one. Because if these things get out their Blitz might take up to half the HP. That could be a one-shot of a lot of these guys at this point in time.
But physical is covered on Vitasia's side because all 3 of his other characters are in critical health, and Cecil will have them covered. But here comes a blitz.
Unless Entangle hits Cecil, which I think is at least a possibility.
That's also a possibility, yeah.
We have some stop stress coming out. That's not a bad idea at all.
Falgren through fight number 2 and moving on to fight number 3.
Mm-hmm.
There are only 5, right?
There are 5.
So
Cecil has gotten held. So now Edge and Yang are now protected, and now Edge is tangled up. We lose Palom. We lose the one thing, but we've only got one character alive. I'm sorry, one character who can do things. Yang is down.
Now it's Palom, rather.
Yep.
Cecil's back up on his feet, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Deja's going to slow it down. Take a little bit of time. Get more bodies up, just because bodies are helpful here.
Or targets.
Yeah, Falcon's going to reset out of this. Again, that's a little bit rough to take without the anything really healing. I don't think Falcon has bought the Cure 2s. That's okay. You can entangle Yang all you like. We don't really care as long as Cecil is available and Vitasia is through.
And we'll
It's
see
the weak
what...
spell that would have been useful on that fight you just got through. It was one level short. It's an
The
Earth
Earth
Crystal for
Crystal.
his trouble.
Oh, that
It's not.
could be
It
interesting.
could be something. It could be a Zonk, but it is 2 characters, which means we should hopefully have a White Mage hiding behind there somewhere. Now, is Vitasia going to dip back to Earth and double check this?
I think the seed is telling him that maybe that's where we need to go. So,
Well, it's not a bad play, because, I mean, we would love to have a White Mage. This is the time to do it. The longer you wait, the less they're going to have for Z.
so you think
Incidentally,
it's,
we still have only 7 key items at this point, so we are still not even close to getting double experience for our White Mage, whoever they are, when we find them.
think it's Kane and Rydia hiding back there?
That would be spicy now, wouldn't it? It would be really spicy is if it was a demist on that giant that's hiding the answer to everything.
It's a demist in the CPU spot.
Or even the element spot, because I don't think Vitasia checked it.
No, he didn't.
Now, Grant, when you do the barrel manip, you're actually at the front of the giant, so it takes longer to go back there and check. Because I usually do it on the back end, because I'm one of those people that just likes to YOLO it. It's closer to being able to check it, or you can just go to the save point and then just dip in and check real quick to see what you got going. All right, Fulgrim is going to come down here to the ribbon room. Hoping the double key item chance gives him 2 key items, perhaps, to get something on the board here.
We still need the hook for the Rat Tail and Falcon. We still need the Twin Harp for Cave Magnus. We still need the Adamant to forge. And we still need the Sand Ruby. So we're looking for key items both for that magic number of 10 to get double experience, but also just because we have all these objectives that need completing that can't be completed.
Scar woke up and shows violence today, apparently. I'm not sure how different this is from any other day, but this one takes the cake, I think, so far.
And we got Odin, I think, in the ribbon room.
We do, which is a little bit nasty because there's a lot of HP here. Now, we could get the Eddy up and hide the Eddy as a defensive measure in case we get nasty RNG here. Sword is up. Odin comes out, and that's a wipe at the levels that we're at.
All right, and top of, Zot 1, we've got
It's a Veil.
They all seem to like to be near, but not directly in the spot they're supposed to be.
And now, luckily for Vitasia's grinded. His physical fighters can get through her defenses here. This isn't bad. Oh, Vulgar has found bonus mode. The D-Mist is here at the White Spear altar, looks like.
And Volvolus is down for Vitasia. No real threat at this point at these
do
levels.
we have useful characters or do we have joke characters for us here?
Oh, we have Rydia. Which is Kane the other one.
It's a mage at the very least. It's not the type of mage we want to see at this point in time. Vitasia is muttering something about Rosa or Porum, Rosa or Porum. It's a cane.
It's game.
So apparently, Vitasia, Falgren, Morgan Mike's the witch, burned him at the stake after the race. Nothing to do with it. Sorry, commentator's curse is on him this time. Rydia, we don't mind, Elish. It's just the fact that we are looking for a white mage for this Z, and we have been through, I think, what is this, 9 character checks out of the 13, and we've not seen it yet. All we've got
But
left
finally,
is
we've got someone can use that heroine robe. Finally,
probably the worst choice to do it, though. Yeah, let's see, what character checks we have left? We've got the standard ruby, we've got the package, we've got the poke route, and we've got the giant. So yeah, we've been through 9 checks out of the 13. We've not seen a white mage yet.
and Sought 2 boss is Paladin. And we're going to keep Rydia unconscious until it's time to slingshot her with all that experience.
As far as why Vitasia threw Paladin, I'm not sure, Scar. That's a choice for sure. I think I would have preferred to get rid of the edge in that case, just what we've got. I mean, I don't think edge is a lot of dart, but that's just me.
And Paladin, unsurprisingly, goes down.
Yeah, Zot was not going to be a threat to Vitasia at the levels that he's at right now. The question is, was this worth it? Because other than that Rydia, we're hoping for a key item out of this that gives us something.
The Falgren's going to be fighting Demist for a little bit. As Demist is going to have a lot of hit points here.
Not too bad, actually.
Sand Ruby required.
There is value there.
Yeah.
So Vitasia will get at least the Sand Ruby check down here. That's going to be terminal, so there's nothing else here. He has to have to go back to the moon or go back to the giant and do some grinding. A healer, Elish. I think you really want a healer for C.
Well, we don't know who's in the bed yet, so we'll find out.
This is a twin of some sort. That was too fast. That is the Porum, I think,
the other
right?
one, and yep. And Vitasia is going to take her over Rydia.
Okay, then. In that case, I guess Vitasia is going to go with 4 melee and a white mage.
That's 4 targets for Berserk.
It is, but the problem is with the way that Z is going to be going with an Edward hero, you're not going to be able to get a chance to get Zerk on all 4 of these guys.
The Mist Dragon is down for Falgren, and that gives us the Spoon, which gives Edward some offensive capacity.
You know, Vitasia's going to go back here to the tower and do a swap out on characters. He's going to take that Palom back. He's going to ditch the edge in the process.
It gives him access to twin spells.
That's true, although generally those are not really all that useful outside the early game. Come on, Scar. You think what you want to do? 4 melee and a white mage? You've given us something to talk about, that's for sure.
And Falgren's going after Odin a second time. We'll see how this goes.
Hi, Daddy.
You could hide Edward and wait till the third time that sword comes up, yes, and then use some sort of lightning spell to finish the fight instantly.
Yeah, that's an option. Or even just simply recovery. I mean, as long as Edward's got the defenses, at least survive a hit from Odin, you can hide him and then bring him back to help revive the party. I think at this point, Yang at max health could at least survive the hit.
It did low teen hundreds last time. Did almost 1400, I think, to Yang last time.
Yeah. Not hiding him. Okay. It was trying the spoon, hoping it's going to work. Use virus. It's instant.
It's putting out a lot of damage there.
Oh, that's the wipe. That was a heavy hit on Yang.
It wasn't. Yeah, I'm sure it was about 1,000 less than that last time, but I could be mistaken.
I think it was about 1,700 last time. I thought the Yang was going to survive that.
Vitasia has decided to go back to the giant.
Although, of course, Zeromus, like, usually we think to ourselves, like, usually 2,400 is about the max he can do. I did a fight the other day. It's a little bit early, but I got hit for over 2,600 on a character who was almost at 3,000. I thought I was totally safe. It's like, oh. That was unexpected.
Can never count Zeromus out. And there is the Dark Knight. If we can get to Edward's turn... Oh.
We are not going to. And I don't...
Support... Oh, we don't have any healing items left.
Nope. Which means that this is going to be a wipe here too, unfortunately. Yeah, the moon is rude for what we have as a party for Falgren.
The moon is rude in line with the rest of the seed. Vitasia has decided to go back to fighting Mac Giants, I believe, to slingshot Porum.
Yes, definitely slingshotting here. If you're just joining us, if you think you'd seen this particular fight about a half hour ago, I think you're right. We are just dealing with a very nasty seed that has driven our race for Vitasia to do a second Mac Giant grind. We got jokes in the seed for you tonight, folks.
It also just occurred to me, like, just now, after having been aware of and played this game for almost 30 years, that the Mac part of Mac Giant is machine.
Yes, McDonald's did not pay for product placement in this particular game.
They're not Scottish, they're machines. We've got Dark Imps, I believe, at the Crystal Sword Altar, which is where I think I saw Falgren heading.
Yes. Which I think Palom might know Stone at this point, which would be a nice thing because Stone can take care of these immediately. Maybe not. We're doing Quake. Now, the thing is, they punch pretty hard here. They don't have a lot of magic power here, but yeah, those punches are going to be spicy.
They certainly seem to be. With Cecil covering, at least, it's not being...
yeah, does not know Stone yet. That's the reason he's not using it yet. Okay, so unfortunately, this is another case where you'd like Palom to have 1 or 2 more levels. The machines not be Scottish.
Yeah, of course they can. These ones just aren't.
How do you know?
They're coming from the Giant of Babel. They're clearly Babylonian.
Isn't that a stretch?
They're giants. They're very, very tall.
I don't know what that has to do with it. Anyways, Edward is down. Tesla's down. Uh-oh. The Imp is
the
down.
Dark Imps are down, yeah.
It made an Aberdeen. Okay. It's the stone that would have been helpful in that fight just passed. It's an adamant rock. Adamant.
Well, that opens up another path for Guerin to see what he gets out of that Cocoa Forge, but there's no key item there, I don't believe.
There's an objective, but there is no key item. There is a weapon for Eddie that you don't really need because you have a spoon at this point. And yeah,
opens a shop too. Yes,
there is a shop. Shop may have something. Scar, given what else is rolled in the seed, do you really think you were generous enough to put a Zeus gauntlet there for them?
Vitasia has completed a second grind. And his White Wizard is now suddenly level 47.
Joys of grinding. We love Zeus Gauntlets, we don't love the racers tonight. There's a
Falgren's
fork for that.
acted.
You can make a fork that happens.
Falgren is headed back into the Lunar subterrane to take on the Murasame altar a second time, the gauntlet there. And Vitasia is headed back to the Lunar subterrane, presumably to take a look at the options.
I think we've seen the results for most of these altars, except for I think the ribbon we haven't seen, the Mazza we haven't seen.
Yeah, we haven't seen either of those. We know what's there. We just haven't seen the results of the fight.
Yes, shops is still only Zeus gauntlets. I was thinking just at least hard coding the coal shop to always have it there. I'm not as generous as you want to be with these things.
Now we're still looking for a hook for both the rat tail and to launch the falcon. We're looking for a twin harp to complete Cave Magnus. So we need one of those two items somewhere.
Yes, now for Vitasia, a hook is go. For Falgren, in his situation, a hook is not quite go yet. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're getting towards the end, but it's going a little bit rough here.
Going a little bit rough, in line with the rest of the seed. I think so far the only thing that's gone easy on these poor runners has been the King and Queen Eblin at the Queen of Monsters spot.
Yes, one easy one to lure you into a false sense of security.
But getting there was an ordeal all on its own.
This is true. And unfortunately, it has not gone very well after we've left that fight, so... Woof.
So we've got Vitasia in the bottom of the subterrane, and Falgren, I think, is probably going to forge the Legend Sword.
Yep, I would imagine so. Just so we'll check the Demus spot. That's right, because he has the Demus down.
He demissed, yeah.
This is something to check that runners forget, so it's good he's going back here and checking this.
If this is
Sheila,
the hook...
yeah, what does Rydia's mom have for us tonight? She doesn't have a mom, at least in lore in this game.
There it is.
There's the hook. So all of a sudden,
that gives us Rat Tail and Falcon, which means that Falgren still needs.
Well, now remember, Falgren has the Rat Tail, he has the Forge, he has the Falcon. If that Rat Tail gives him, for example, the Wind Harp, he is in go.
That's true. Yeah.
I have to launch the hovercraft.
The last hovercraft. Yeah. Oh, we're going down for Vitasia. We can see what's in the ribbon room now.
It's gonna be a package and something else.
That's There's the twin harp.
So, okay. Now we know that Falgren's gonna have to go back to the moon because there's nothing else on Earth that can help Falgren down here. He's gonna be one away because they have to go get something else. Either the
Twin Harp or Sand Ruby, or the Murasame altar.
One of the three. Vitasia's not in go yet, so I think this Demus will drive him back to the Earth once he finishes this. Just because that's going to be a check on Earth again. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, once he finishes Demist, he can take the oh, there's Pigtail for the Rat Tail. But once he
which will automatically be turned in for Falgren. Let's see if it gives him anything useful.
Party Zerus.
Well, if you're going to leave the Sid in the party, that would be helpful, but I don't think that's the case.
But the hook from Demist here, if Vitasia goes back and grabs that right away, we'll put Vitasia in go mode.
And now the only thing is, Vitasia might decide that he's already a second trip to the moon. He might just want to simply finish the moon before he leaves.
Well, he does only have Ogopogo altar left to do, so...
True. And it is DKC, which is going to be quick, and he will survive it because that Yang has a truckload of HP and can survive anything at max level at this point. Or at max hit points, I should say.
There goes Demist. Yeah, it won't take him long to take out that Dark Knight.
Because the Dark Knight takes itself out. Something about Justice requiring that he not last more than 3 turns.
Yeah, it's something like that.
All right. So,
He is going to go check it. I mean, alternatively, if Edward gets a turn and hides, we'll just.
yeah, but there is no need because again, we can just simply have Yang just tank the whole thing and it's done. Eddie, just because of the way the agility works here, will not get a hide off before the first Dark Wave goes out.
Especially because he's already dead.
Details. Out because did not heal up. He has to heal Yang up a little bit. I think this will still be fine. We'll only get experience. Yang will be fine.
We're good. It should be good.
Only going to get experience though on possibly just a couple characters here. Decides not to get anybody else up, so it's going to be just Yang and Eddie. But Eddie has almost 1,600 hit points. Eddie is going to be extremely fast on Zeromus.
Normally, that would be a good thing. But
no, actually, that's never a good thing on Zeromus.
In other games, that would be a good thing. Being fast would normally be what you'd want, but not so much in this one.
Only because all the rest of your party is slow, especially in this case, the twins. Although the twins have an excuse. They're 5 years old. They aren't very fast on their feet yet.
The tower key was hiding behind Dark Knight Cecil, and it's... I don't think it's something that it's a check that he's going to need... Well, obviously he's not going to need to do it. We know that. But I don't think it's a check that he's going to end up doing. Certainly if he checks Rydia's mom, doesn't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, Rydia's mom will give him the rat tail turn in and will also then lead to the falcon. Doesn't have the forge, so that means he's going to have to at least take the extra time to go ahead and complete the hook route, whereas if he'd had the adamant rock, he would not have had to do that.
He doesn't have to. He's got the twin harp. He could do Cave Magnus instead.
That is also a fairly long check, though, considering.
Neither of them are quick, but it's an option.
It's an option. The question is, which do you do? The one that the people like or the one that might be faster?
So we've got a question in chat.
How's the seed behaving?
Well, have you got another hour for us to list it off?
Falgren finds an Avenger in the box in the Tower Descent. That's interesting. Yes, and as far as seed quality goes, Apex, Scarcer rolled a feral seed. That's what I'm going to call this.
That's a good word for it. But hey, at least we've got the 10 key items for double experience.
It's taken long enough to get there. It's an hour 45 into the seed. Wow.
And Falcon 1 is a
Oh, is this going to be... Oh, this can't be the gauntlet. This is the water hag. Thank God.
Yeah, the water hag.
I was going to say, after all that Falgren has been through in this seed, to see the gauntlet here would just be the cake, but he's already seen it, thankfully.
We have decided to go to Cave Magnus for our final check, for our final objective for Vitasia.
Well, Vitasia is a man of the people, so it was going to give us the art music that you've all been waiting for the last hour and 45 minutes. What a wait for a payoff.
Water Hag unsurprisingly goes down, and we know that Azura is behind him.
Yep. So, while we were having our runners finish these things, and Vitasia setting up for the music, I do want to give a shout out again to Holger and Vitasia, our runners, for allowing themselves to be restreamed here tonight. To Mr. Tierney for doing the tracking, and said to do it for a very long time, and not a whole lot of payoff along the way because it took so long to get these items. Scar for rolling was probably been the nastiest seed that I have seen in this sequence so far, and Mark and Mike for joining me on comms for what has been quite a barn buster of a seed.
And to Guerin for also doing comms and again having a lot to talk about and keeping me straight when I don't know what I'm talking about. So we'll get some music, so we'll get out of your way and let you listen to the lovely tunes that Edward will be playing for Edward. And
DJ Spoony B coming up for you. We'll see you on the other side. So it looks like Vitasia's auto had a little bit of trouble with it, so we switched off, and I don't know what that was from. I couldn't really hear it that well. Anyways, Vitasia is now finally in go mode, has a crystal at 1 hour and 48 minutes. We'll be off to Z.
think he'll check that package for the character?
No.
I imagine not.
No, it's probably going to be the Rosa. We've all wished we've sort of seen the entire seed, but Rosa did not cooperate this time around.
Well, and at this point, there's no time, no reason to grind her up. Azura goes down on Falgren's side, which
So that is going to be objective number 4 for Falgren.
A moment away from launching that Falcon.
Yeah, it does have the Forge available, so he's going to get number 5 as soon as he gets into the Underground. That's just a case of what does he do for number 6? And Murra Altar is calling.
Yeah, we know everything else is up on the moon. Twin Harp's there. Obviously, the Murasame altar is there, and the Sand Ruby's there. So.
Yep. Now I think that based on the setup, I would imagine we're going to have not sure if his Vitasia's going to try for the hybrid strats, or if he's going to try for just straight out reflect. We got 2 mages for it, but might want to try it. I don't know what agility Eddie is at right now, but it could be a little bit spicy.
And here we go. We get to see what face Zeromus is going to be wearing tonight.
You want to explain what you're talking about there, Organ Mike? What face?
Certainly. So, Zeromus, being the big mean monster that Zeromus is not capable of being thrown into the random pool with everyone else. So instead of randomizing where Zeromus is, the makers of Free Enterprise have randomized who Zeromus is. And so they've given him a selection of over 500 sprites to choose from, all lovingly crafted. In fact, I believe most lovingly crafted by one particular member of the community. But we get to see, once that crystal is used, exactly whose butt is being kicked tonight. I see a Z flag in the chat. And we'll see
Yes,
how this
chat,
fight
chat.
goes.
Where are these Z flags? We got 79 people in the chat.
Cecil getting the Drain Sword before throwing out the crystal.
All right, the crystal is out. Drum roll, please. Who is our mystery Z tonight?
His true colors emerged, and we have Rurg.
We have Roy G. Bivmus or something like that. Oh, Floydmus. There we go.
Well, we are on the dark side of the moon, so...
Yeah, and apparently this is appropriate for what kind of seed this has been so far. It's a
got
Loki harp,
Loki harp for Falgren.
which unfortunately is not the harp that drops Edward's agility. It still has to deal with all the nasty agility that Edward brings.
And out come the Bursks.
It looks like Cecil is using a drain sword, so that's going to be a thing for sure.
Is there a reason for that, or is that just a way to keep Cecil's hit points up?
I guess if we're going to let Cecil Zerk up, might be a way to just stay ahead of the Big Bang damage. That could possibly be it. Because all of our party is dead now except for 2.
Yeah, that was a bit of a rough start. And Floydmus is shaking again.
Yeah, with Eddie being as fast as Eddie is, oh dear. This is a recent advantageous part. Gonna have to think about this again for setup. Advantageous checking out shops. Not sure quite what we're looking for here, but
Just gonna head straight back in.
upside of Cataclaw. Maybe possibly character order is the problem.
The Falgren going after that Murasame altar a third time.
Yep, it's definitely been a seed here.
For sure.
I don't think we saw any Silk Whips either. Silk Whip would be really nice to try and get the agility of Edward somewhat under control. I mean, you could try a slow on Porum. It's not as effective, but it might do something for the turn order here.
Zemus will keep removing those, right? Every time he shakes before the crystal is used, he clears off any enchantments.
Slow is not one of them, though. That actually sticks. Okay. He clears the
fair.
enchantments off of the party, as it turns out, but I don't believe it resets his agility at that point.
Good to know.
Yeah, it doesn't work pre-crystal, but post-crystal it does. Oh, okay, that's where we're going there. I was seeing the shake like when he shakes in the middle of the fight.
Well, then he also has Black Hole, which will clear off anything that you've done.
To yourself, yes. I don't think that takes off him, though. Which is a little bit too early to get the thing. There's Porum doing a slow.
And we're doing some reflected nuke. I gotta say, the way that sprite shifts color like that's really neat. Yes, I'm being corrected in chat. Black Hole does not remove the effect of slow on Zemus. And Eddie
Edward is down.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If things are truly desperate, I believe I remember seeing someone hit Zeromus with a virus, hide Eddie, and then just wait for his hit points to run out. It takes a while, but is that a viable strat?
I mean, it's not viable for the restream team because we aren't going to sit here to wait for that, but I think that it is a viable strat to eventually get through it. It's just a case of if you're only losing 1 or 2 HP per tick, it's like, it is a lot of ticks.
It's only, what, 30,000 at that point?
Well, you see, the problem is, I think, yeah, I mean, but even so, it's like that would be 15,000 ticks of the clock. That is a lot of ticks. Yeah, Scar is telling us it would take about 20 minutes. All right, Falgren is through the red giant.
And I believe that Warlocks and Red Giant was fight number 3? Possibly 4.
Now Yang is down. Unfortunately, Falgren is still taking a beating by just not having a white mage at all in the party.
That was a pretty rough Big Bang, but it looks like Vitasia's still on his feet.
Yep, gets a cure out.
And are we getting close to the refresh point? We must have run over it, or at least got close to it by now.
Yeah, I mean, with this being a hybrid strats, we're definitely into, I think, phase 2 at this point. We get another shake, so...
I think he's just going to eat the unnerved Big Bangs.
Uh-oh,
Whoops.
the wall come down. That's going to... Or maybe it was black hole. Either which way. Doesn't matter. We're hoping this is not going to wipe out the Palom. Or the Porum.
That was a
Lucky it
fairly
did not.
low roll, yeah. We're doing okay.
That could have been bad.
Falgren on the last fight of the
gauntlet.
Oh
No.
Did not make it through. There's our magics became invalid, which was something I never understood what it meant until fairly recently, last few years.
Yeah, I mean,
a dispel. Okay. And Zeromus is throwing his own nukes around.
Yeah, or maybe considering what to do here.
Looks like Vitasia is just going to live with the Berserk Cecil and no other fighters at the moment, and just keep reflecting nukes off of Hallam. Hallam is almost out of magic points, and Floydmus just gave us another shake.
Well, this is the last nuke cast unless Vitasia has something to refill the MP of Hallam. Which, you know, he could steal the MP from Cecil. That's certainly a viable strategy to refill.
We'll see who survives this Big Bang.
Yes, it is going out.
Ooh.
Hopefully Porum survives.
She did not.
Oh dear. And neither did Palom, which means this
rocks.
is... This is it. We need to make sure this gets
Cecil
through.
Pull it out? Just a few more hits. We're almost there. There's a Meteo, and it landed.
Yep, I think Cecil can survive one more of those.
And can Zemus survive 2 or 3 more hits before that happens?
There's rocks again. Ugh, it hits.
This is right down to the wire.
All right.
This is exciting.
Cecil,
is this it?
your
Is this
Wheaties.
it? We got one more, maybe one more shot. Oh dear.
Oh, just made it. Oh, GG.
Wow. What an exciting finish, and incredibly appropriate for this monster of a seed. Well done, Vitasia. Wow.
We will see if Vitasia wants to have an interview after this monster of a seed. Oh my. While we're doing that, I just wanted to, we did have a few finishers before Vitasia on stream. Off stream, we had Coffee and Chocobos at 134.55, Curios at 143.37, and Flurry 14 at let's see, that's 151.32. So GG to our racers who are participating off stream. It was a rough one. Thanks for toughing it out for sure. And that thing means we are joined by Vitasia. GG.
Well done, Vitasia.
Whoever rolled that seed is barred from ever rolling a seed again in a tournament race I'm running. Okay?
We'll let Scar know. That was brutal. Wow.
I think I would ask what you thought of them. I think you've already told us what you thought of that one.
Yeah, so, I mean, the white mage was absolutely buried. I had to go hunting for even Cure 2s. I have no idea where Cure 3s were. Wow.
Yeah, and that still came down to, even after you did double giant grind, you still were hoping that you would get off another hit before those rocks came out again and wiped you.
Oh, my butt was clenched. There's no getting around that. Absolutely. I was like, all right, I think, with the agility I have, it'll go 2 swings, 1 swing, 2 swings. That first Meteo dodge was so clutch from Cecil.
Also necessary, because if they hadn't dodged, you would not have made it.
No. Yeah, that was very, very tight. And I knew as soon as I didn't get the nerf on the first big bang, I'm like, this is probably going to be a wipe, and I did wiped. And then I thought I waited enough time to get for Eddie to throw the Thor Rage, and that didn't happen. So,
Yeah, Eddie's agility on this kind of seed is jank, especially if there is no Silkubs and there is no Requiem Harp to bail you out.
Yeah, it was so. I mean, here's the thing, though. This is the kind of stuff that we are going to see in the tournament. So it's good to practice it now, so you know what kind of jank to prep for.
I'm not sure if this is necessarily a good advertisement for getting people to join, but if you like pain, it's certainly a good advertisement.
You certainly showed us what it could look like and how to deal with it. It was a bit of a challenge. Definitely fun to watch, but I'm glad I'm not the one who was running it.
Yeah, is those scenes I usually like to stay up in the booth for and talk about and laugh with everyone else.
Well, at the very least, now next time you commentate, you can always draw on your experiences, right?
Yeah, GG's to all the folks in the community who ran this race. This was a tough one. You were given everything for a giant grind except for healers or a way to heal. Cecil, I bounced off of that nasty Golbez into Ogo. What? Oh my! I mean, just this whole seed, even beyond the lack of white mages, just things were just felt strategically placed to hurt you.
Which is that gauntlet sitting there at the Mura altar, because without a healer, there was really no way to get through it. It's just too punishing without meatballs to stop those warlocks.
Right, and I mean, I got through it without a healer, and I'm like, my edge, because I didn't have any equipment, and I'm glad I took the edge over the Sid there because he was much speedier. He was just throwing Cure 2s, just like trying to. It felt like a a combat medic, like trying to bandage people up, like, please stay alive, please stay alive. And at the Double King Ryu fight, I clutched getting off a stop on the last one so that I can get everyone up to get the experience and to knock it down. But oh my goodness, that was. I mean, there were so many fights that I just felt like I eked out at the very end.
And then, of course, the kicker on that gauntlet is you got the week right after the gold dragons drop. It's like, thanks, could have used that one fight ago.
Yeah, so it's like everything was just a giant. Here you go, buddy. It was great. And the spoon was, of course, at the very end as well. That would have been nice, an hour earlier.
Okay. Yeah. I guess if there's anything else about that seed you particularly liked or didn't like, but again, most of the seed is just like a highlight reel of pain. My goodness.
Yeah, it was. Oh my goodness, it was just so difficult getting through all of that. I don't know where the other half of Forge was. I don't know where. I mean, I obviously I got the hook. But yeah.
It was on the moon. I believe was it one of the altars you didn't do. I think it might have been the crystal altar.
Adamant was behind Bahamut.
Oh, Bahamut. Okay,
so
Bahamut.
Yeah, and those were Magus sisters, and I had I didn't have a rune axe. I think I had a mute knife that with an underleveled edge wielding it. So, but again, no one to cast Zark. So, just GG's to whoever rolled this one. Like, we put this out in the clips and seeds. This was fantastic. But thank you to everyone for doing all the work behind the scenes. Scar for the restream. The two of you, Garen, Oregon, Mike, the two of you for the comms. I'm looking forward to watching this one back when I can, after I separate myself from the seed for a little bit. And Mr. Tierney,
good drinking hand, maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do not plan on being sober when I'm watching this one back. Absolutely not.
Go lie down, have a drink, enjoy, relax.
All right. Thank you again.
But thank you, everyone, and take care.
Yeah, thanks again, Vitasia, for being on Restream and subjecting yourself to what is definitely a seed. Looks like we're not going to be hearing from Falgren tonight. Again, GG to Falgren, who did forfeit after that last attempt of the gauntlet. Just still did not have a healer, just did not see a way through, and decided it was enough for a night.
But GG's, and there's no shame in walking away from this one, especially after what we saw tonight.
Yeah, I might have walked away from this one before we ever got to this 2-hour mark. So anyways, we are not sending you over to anybody tonight. So this is going to wrap it up for our broadcast tonight. The next community race, if you want to join in on the fun or pain, depending on what the restreamer is feeling like that night, it is Friday night, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good for our West Coast folks that like to catch a race. And if you really like all the hijinks that Free Enterprise can give you, I'm sure we'll have more spicy fun for you on Friday night. So again, on behalf of Scar, who rolled this amazingly spicy seed, Mr. Tierney for doing the tracking, Oregon Mike for being in the comms booth with me, I am Garen. Thank you for joining us, folks, and we'll see you on Friday night.
Thanks, good night. We'll see you then.